So in today's dribbling and driving session, we're going to be looking at scanning for space, finding the best spaces to go in and attack, ball control, being able to keep the ball really close to our feet in the dribble and being able to burst away with heavier touches during the drive, being able to change our speed and change our direction with the ball really quickly to get away from the defender, and coming up with a bit of creative movement and skill to help beat the defender, thinking of as many different ways as we can to beat the defender in a 1v1 situation. So the pieces of equipment you'll need for today's session is a football, something to mark the floor. If you've got cones, that'd be great. If not, you can use bottles or just anything to give yourself an idea of the space you're going to be using, and also a teammate. If you haven't got a teammate today, like a sibling or a friend or a parent, a guardian, that's okay. I've used a chair today to help me be my teammate. Just acts as a defender that I can look to beat in a 1v1 situation. So the first practice is just going to give us an idea of scanning the quickest route to get through, identifying what spaces we have to attack through, being able to change the speed and the direction off the ball by moving through two sets of gates. So what you can hopefully see here are two sets of gates, one on the left and one on the right hand side, just a gate in the middle just to go through. And I'm just going to walk up to the gates and then burst into action, pushing off of either my right or my left foot, attacking the space in front of me so I can get away from the defender. It's just going to get us warmed up, ready for adding the ball in later on. Maybe you can add a little shift left and shift right, just showing your quick feet to get away from the defender. Making sure that we start in slow, then burst away nice and quickly. That's going to start with our dribble, and then it will push us into our drive. We'll just see one more of these now. Really simple just to start with, get you nice and warm. There you go, nice and easy. Now I'm just going to add in a chair here. That's going to act as my defender. I'm going to push off my right foot, assess the space. It's on the left hand side. I'm going to attack down that left hand side because that's where the defender isn't. One more time, check that my space is on the left. Slow, burst away, pushing off my right foot and going. So this time I've added in two chairs. So I'm going to push off the right, then to the left. So I've assessed that's my first movement inside that square, then to the other. So it's just testing our agility, giving us the ability to move nice and quickly off the ball. And again, one square into the other, getting around the defenders. So now we've been given a little bit more space on one side. So this is going to be our drive. Longer distances between our legs, being able to move at pace. Still shifting over and, testing out that defender on the left-hand side. Trying to get a little bit closer to them to create the space next to us to drive into. So now we're going to add the football in, showing good close control in the dribble, big changes of speed and direction with the ball when we're driving. Really important that we get the football in as early as we can. I want you to get really comfortable with the football at your feet, in the dribble and the drive. So we're going to start off with a nice and simple warm-up. So now adding the football is just going to allow us to move through the gates freely, being able to use your left foot or your right foot just to shift the ball and move off at pace. So during the dribble, the touches will be really close to your feet. And as you get to the drive and you get a little bit more space in front of you, that's when you can start putting heavier touches, bigger touches to travel through bigger distances. Now I want you to feel comfortable, so anytime you want to try a little skill, whether that's a ball roll, a step over, a roulette, just test it in this area, because later on that's what we're going to be working on as well. Just get comfortable with the ball in this warm-up. Repetition, get loads of opportunity just to feel comfortable moving through the ball, shifting with the dribble, then into the drive. So I'm just going to show you now, if you do have a teammate, what the role of the defender would be. So the ball's going to be placed on the chair, which would be the attacker at this point. Stand in the middle, give a little countdown, 3, 2, 1, shift into that zone, The attacker will then have to go through the empty gate, giving the attacker a chance to scan. We'll show that again. 3, 2, 1. Shift, scan the empty gate, and drive through. Now, if you want to add another obstacle in there, or you have another teammate, they can be added into another square. See this one more time. There you go. We'll just give the opportunity to drive through, just to keep the attacker scanning and assessing where do we need to dribble, where do we need to drive. Now that attacker would have to go from the right to the left with the dribble. And we'll just change it one more time, just so you got another opportunity to see. There you go. The defender just shifts whichever way they want to shift, just to keep the attacker on their toes, whether they need to dribble to the left or whether they need to dribble to the right. Really, really simple. So now we'll get into the attacking. So we're going to dribble to drive left. So start off with the ball in the end gates, assess the area, dribble close to the chair or the teammate, the defender at the time. I'm just going to shift it into the empty gate, looking to drive through. So as I'm right-footed, I'm just going to use the inside of my right foot to shift the ball away from the defender to then drive through the gate. We'll just see that one more time. Just going to use that right foot to shift the ball away from the defender. Shift, all up skill, and we'll drive through. So now we're going to change the side of the defender. Hopefully you get an opportunity to see the outside of the right foot used this time. There you go, to shift the ball to the right hand side to attack and drive down that side of the defender. Assessing the space, we've seen where the space is, shift and then go. Really, really important during the drive that we start with a slow dribble. It gives us the opportunity to draw the defender in, then get away. Really, really quick change of speed, change of direction to hopefully unbalance the defender and then to get away. I think we'll see one more just here. Slow, and off we go. So now we're going to add in a second defender. Hopefully now in this smaller space, we'll have to use closer control. Keep the ball nice and tight to us, away from the defenders, to be able to shift from one zone into the other really, really quickly, using some good ball manipulation skills, keeping that ball really, really close and tight to us. Shift it one way, shift to the other. Now, like I said before, you can use different skills to attack at those defenders. What we're trying to do is unbalance them. We're trying to get them to think we're going one way, but we go the other. We've made that space for us inside that zone to then get away into the other. We're now just going to shift the defenders, so it gives us the opportunity to use different parts of our feet to manipulate the ball during the dribble. We go into one zone, then we're going into the other. Hopefully using the insides, the outsides, and maybe the laces and the sole to manipulate the ball to get away from those defenders. Now we're going to have a look at the drive left. Now with the drive, you're going to have bigger touches, heavier touches, usually with the laces, and a nice straight line to attack bigger spaces. Hopefully, after the dribble, you've been able to create some space for yourself away from defenders to drive into. And this is where the heavier touches with the laces usually come into play. Hopefully by now, our head's up and we're almost sprinting into that zone with the ball. Trying to get that head up if we can and sprint away. And we'll go same again with the drive. This time we'll just go down the right hand side. I think it's really important to test yourself on the left hand side and the right hand side and through the centre, just to feel comfortable in different areas, because there'll be times where you pick the ball up in loads of different areas of the football pitch and you'll have to shield with the right hand side of your body or shield with the left hand side of your body where defenders are, and really, really drive down each side of the pitch. So being comfortable to push it on your left, push it on your right. So now we're going to go into the challenge. We're going to see how many different tricks, skills, twists and turns you can use to beat a defender. Hopefully you can do this in a 1v1 against your teammate. If not, like I've done in the video, you can use a chair or a target to try and act as a defender to get around them and beat them. But I really want you to be confident to try and use loads and different skills and twists and turns to try and beat the defender right now. So if you do have a teammate, this is just going to be the role of the defender. Give a countdown, go over and press them and try and stop them from getting into the 2 red gates. That's what the attacker is going to be trying to do. Trying to get the ball into the 2 red gates by dribbling past the defender and then driving. So using those skills that we've worked on in this practice. So now I'm going to show you a couple of skills and turns and twists that I use to beat the defender in a 1v1 to get through the red gates. Starting with a ball roll just there. Now I'm going to go into a step over. Sometimes I use the ball to shift the defender. Sometimes I use my body to try and unbalance the defender. All you're trying to do is unbalance the defender so they go one direction, and you then burst and change your speed and change your direction to the other. Sometimes you move the ball to do that. Sometimes you move your body. We'll finish off with a little roulette. Hope you guys really enjoyed that session today on dribbling and driving. Really working on that ball control, changes of speed and changes of direction with the ball at your feet, especially in a 1v1 situation. Always can be really, really fun to try and go up against the teammate to beat them, go through the gates, try and be really, really creative with the skills that you might already know, or some things that you want to make up yourself. Be really creative with it, be really, really enthusiastic to try and beat that defender. And if you see that space, when you recognise where that space is, go and drive into it, go and exploit the space, whether that's in the middle, on the wings, if you're up against the goalkeeper in the box, just try and beat them and hopefully get as far forward and far up the pitch as you possibly can, closer to that goal. Hope you really enjoyed it today. Test as many skills and twists and turns as you can. I'm sure you've got loads more than I've shown you today. Catch you next time.